And we are live. Hey, everybody, this is Roberto Blake, helping you create something awesome today. Welcome back to another Workshop Wednesday here on the channel. So, we've been doing a 12-week series. This is week 8, and we're going to be focusing on content strategy specifically for entertainment channels in YouTube. So, you don't want to miss out on that. And we've been doing these workshops on Wednesdays, roughly around 7:30 p.m. Today, I had a lot of interesting things going on today, but we are here now, and we definitely want to get into our full presentation. The slides are going to be available. Give me 1 second here. Workshop week 8. The slides are going to be available for you after the stream. The stream will also be up live on the YouTube channel in my live tab for you on YouTube. So we are streaming to YouTube, LinkedIn, X.com, formerly Twitter, Kick.com, and I believe Twitch as well now, Twitch.com as well. So we do have our week 8 workshop. I have the slide presentation loaded up. The download link will be available after the stream. So just to give you a glance at what we're going to do as far as the presentation here. This is a live workshop, so we are also going to answer a couple of questions along the way, but this will give you a preview of what to expect. We're going to be talking about the different popular formats for entertainment YouTube. These are not all the formats. These are just the most popular ones that I could think of at the time. We're going to talk about value for your viewers and the importance of packaging. We're going to talk about what ultimately attracts viewers, and we're going to do a little bit of a case study where I'm going to show you 3 different entertainment YouTube channels and what they do well. And we're going to talk about how you can basically dominate any niche on YouTube. Some of this is um, a modified, expanded version of the presentation that I gave at VidCon last year. So if you weren't at my presentation for VidCon on dominating every niche in YouTube, actually that one was Vid Summit, and VidCon was the how to be a full-time creator, which we've also talked about. I've been doing these presentations for a while, and I've spoken on over 100 different stages talking about being a content creator and monetizing yourself in the creator economy, going full time, and around content strategy. I've coached over 700 YouTube channels in the last 2 years. For those of you who don't think I can do entertainment or help entertainment channels and that I would only be able to help education channels, in the last 2.5 years, I've coached over 100 YouTube gaming channels, primarily across 5 games in the mobile gaming niche and space. And I've successfully coached several Pokemon YouTubers, including A Drive and also Wolfie. So I do understand how entertainment channels work, and I've successfully, in the 15 categories of YouTube, I've successfully coached one channel in every one of the 15 categories of YouTube, including sports, pets, vlogging, beauty, all of it, to a silver play button. I've not gotten everyone to a gold play button in every category, but I have gotten a few of them, specifically in fitness, for example, gaming, pets, and animals. So several channels to over 1 million in various categories of YouTube. Obviously, I've done that for people in the how-to and style category. So we have a lot to jump into with our presentation around our creator playbook here. Next week, we will focus on education-based channels, but this one is going to be more in the entertainment niche. So we'll go through our presentation. We'll take a couple of questions. Super chats, of course, are always appreciated. And don't forget, you can check out our previous slides. We also make the slides available for you with a download link on X if you're following over there. We try to post them pretty much everywhere we can. All you have to do is submit your email, and we'll make sure that you can download the slides. I'll have the link for that live after the presentation here. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. Excuse me. So, the presentation slides for this week, if you're watching the replay, will be available at www.awesomecreatoracademy.com/week 8. If you use the previous weeks, week 7, week 6, and that's week 08, if you use week 07, 06, 05, so on and so forth, you'll be able to download the previous slide presentations in their entirety. To introduce those of you who are new to me, I am a self-taught six-figure creator. I have been on YouTube from the beginning. YouTube is 20 years old today. First official YouTube video was uploaded 20 years ago on April 23rd, which is wild to think about. Back all the way in 2005. I've been on YouTube since the beginning of the platform. I did content with my friends. It didn't go anywhere. I launched my own channel out of frustration in 2009. I'm what you would call an OG YouTuber. I did not take YouTube seriously or upload consistently until 2013. I took an extended intermittent break from YouTube, barely uploaded 4 or 5 videos a year from 2009 all the way through 2012. So I came back to YouTube seriously over a decade ago in 2013, and I grew my channel in 3 years from 2013 to 2016 to 100,000 subscribers around tutorial content and freelancer advice. I was a freelancer at the time, left the 9-to-5 job to do freelancing full time on my own using my skills. And I mostly did tech and tutorial content, not YouTube help content. I'm one of the only YouTube educators who did not start with YouTube help content. I started with tech and tutorials, and I grew my channel to 100,000 subscribers without YouTube help content playing a big role in that. Those of you who were trying to be graphic designers and photographers back in the day probably remember my design tutorials, my video editing tutorials, and my camera reviews for budget camera gear. Now, what I will tell you is that the big change for me was not going viral. I've never gone viral. In the spring of 2015, I only had 20,000 subscribers. These workshops are for people who are under 20,000 subscribers mostly. In 2015, I went from 20,000 subscribers, and by April of 2016, I had 100,000 subscribers. My strategy was I went daily. I believed that if I made more of the content that was working on my channel, and I made a lot of it, that my channel would exponentially grow. And I was able to prove that. I stayed a daily content creator for about 2 years after that. I don't necessarily recommend that strategy to everybody, but I do know that that worked for me. And I've used the things I learned from my own experience, but also from coaching nearly 700 content creators and doing 5,000 public channel reviews on Fridays, which we do. I learned a lot about content creation, got data from channels in every single major niche in YouTube and all the 15 categories. And I've talked to thousands of creators and learned lessons and interviewed on my podcast multiple creators over 1 million and 10 million subscribers. I've also learned how to turn YouTube into a sustainable 6-figure business. So that's my background, aside from the fact that I came from the world of traditional marketing and advertising before all of this, graphic design, photography. I was a writer for several publications as a freelance writer. So I bring real world industry experience. I bring knowledge from coaching creators in almost every major niche and duplicating success for multiple creators over the years consistently. And I'm always looking at what is new and what is changing in YouTube and try to stay up to date with that and keep in touch with the folks over at the platform. That said, how long does it really take for you to succeed? I do not sugarcoat things. I tell you that if you're a working class content creator who is working a 9-to-5 job, you're putting in 40, 50 hours a week, you're exhausted, maybe you have a family, you got kids to wrangle when you come home, you got to take care of yourself as an adult. You only have maybe 10, 20 hours a week to dedicate to content creation on YouTube. And that includes learning the platform in workshops like this, and then actually filming, editing all of your content, packaging it, trying to struggle with thumbnails and titles. It is a lot. And don't get it twisted. A lot of the people you see go viral are not in your same position. Mostly the people who go viral are not working class content creators like you. They're people who get to go all in on YouTube for one reason or another. They left their job, they quit their job, they drop out of college. They're a high school student without a lot of responsibilities. The thing that the YouTubers that go mega viral and what they all have in common, and you can check this for yourself, with the exceptions of people like Casey Neistat and Roman Atwood, and to a lesser extent, Mark Rober. With those few notable exceptions, you will find that most people who have gone viral and go viral on YouTube are young people under 25, certainly under 30, single, not married, no kids. They can go all in on YouTube and give it 40, 60, or even 80 hours a week. And most of the content creators that blow up do it by taking tremendous risk. If you're someone in your late 20s, someone in your 30s, someone in your 40s, or even in your 50s, that doesn't sound like you. And so that's not a realistic expectation of what your journey might look like. It might look very different. For most of us who come to the platform as adults with responsibilities, with other duties that we have to fulfill, we have to figure out how to do the best we can with what we have, where we are. And so most people do not speak to the circumstances of that working class content creator, because most of the people who want to be YouTubers are between 18 and 25. It is the job of choice and career of choice for those young people to want to be influencers. But many of us as adults are finding second, third, or even fourth careers in content creation, and we want to take it seriously, and we do care about things like the money. We do care about making an extra $500 or $1,000 a month, or being able to get this to a full-time business that can do 5,000 to 10,000 or more a month and give us an income that would be livable, usually close to around $60,000 to $100,000 a year in the US. So when I approach teaching YouTube, I teach it from that perspective of what would be realistic for the working class content creator. And if you're thinking that 5 to 7 years sounds unrealistic, I'm just pointing out that if you don't quit, usually that's people's breakthrough, because they can only do this as a part-timer. But also they're having to learn everything while executing. Their time is so divided. My hope is that with our workshop, our free Creator Foundations course, and our free Discord server, that maybe for a lot of those struggling working class content creators, we can cut down the learning curve, and then we can cut down the growth curve, and maybe it won't take 5 to 7 years. Maybe you can have a 3-year journey like I did. Maybe it could be even shorter if your circumstances change within year 1 or year 2 and allow you to free up more time, more resources, or you find something that works very well for you. That's the goal. That's the hope here, is just to make this a little less difficult, a little less challenging. Speaking of the reality of YouTube, many of you need to know the truth about YouTube. It is actually very rare to get 10,000 subscribers. If you are someone who is right around 10,000 subscribers, most of you here will be under 20,000 subscribers, but if you're at 10,000 subscribers, you already are a successful YouTube channel to some degree. While most of the community will celebrate you more if you had 50,000 or 100,000 subscribers, you had 100,000 silver play button like me, or you were at 500,000 like I am. I'm at 600,000. Or you got to 1 million subscribers. While most people look at that as success, the truth is just getting monetized is very difficult, and less than 5% of people on the entire platform are monetized on YouTube right now. Obviously, a very small percentage of people have 10,000 subscribers. And these are numbers I got from Mr. Beast's former head of strategy, Mario Juice. He did a deep dive report with Social Blade. Social Blade also doesn't track every YouTube channel. It doesn't track the majority of channels under 1,000 subscribers, especially international channels. The truth is that there are 115 million channels, and I think it's Clear Media that did the report on this. I think it's clearmedia.com that did the report. I think the Nielsen ratings people for advertising broadcast did a report on this as well. It's actually 115 million YouTube channels worldwide. And if you want to say, well, Roberto, those are probably mostly channels that have quit or don't upload. According to the people I've talked to at YouTube directly, there are no less than 50 million unique active uploaders every single month on YouTube, and they're not always the same people. So we know that there are over 115 million channels, 115 million channels worldwide plus. And we know there are more than 50 million, 50 as in 50 million active uploaders, individual unique humans, individual IP addresses uploading to YouTube all around the world every single month on YouTube. So you can take these numbers with a grain of salt, but don't underestimate these numbers. If you've gotten 10,000 subscribers, you are at the beginning of being very successful on YouTube. Less than 10% of people have ever done it. So I want to encourage you to realize you're not doing that bad. 88% of videos, according to 9to5google.com in a report before YouTube Shorts came out, before YouTube Shorts took over the platform, 88% of all long form videos on YouTube got less than 1,000 views, less than 1,000 views in their entire lifetime on YouTube. So you do need to understand that this is very difficult and that it's okay if you find it a little overwhelming. We're going to make it a lot less intimidating for you. So one of the things I want to introduce is some of the fundamentals of YouTube. We're going to put up some of the other slides, and then we're going to get into the strategy portion of this for entertainment channels. But I wanted to introduce you to some of my backstory so you know you're in the hands of somebody who does have experience, has worked with multiple channels, has done this for a long time, and is still current on what is working and is actively, I'm not uploading as much because I'm too busy actually coaching creators and getting more people views. As you see on Fridays for yourself, if you come to the Friday live streams where we do live public channel reviews in exchange for super chats, you'll see that these things are working and we have people coming back weekly and we're tracking their growth. We're seeing people who have 5x or 10x the growth on their videos by doing things more effectively, mostly their packaging or changing their strategy a little bit. Most of you think you're making terrible content, and the thing is, it's not that you're making terrible content, it's that you're making 3 or 4 mistakes, and you don't have anyone to help you correct those mistakes. And that would be all it would take for you to drastically change what's happening to your YouTube channels in some cases. For a lot of you, you could change what's happening on YouTube for your channel if you just focus on 3 or 4 key things as far as the views that are holding you back. And then some of you, like we talked about in our editing workshop, we did an editing workshop a couple of weeks ago. Some of you, you're losing 30 to 50% of your viewers in the first 30 seconds of your videos. And if you just tightened up the intros of your videos, it would make all the difference in the world. And you stop losing 30 to 50% of your viewers up front. Some of you on strategy, you don't know the fundamentals, and you keep thinking about making videos for your subscribers. You've never checked your analytics. We did an analytics workshop. I believe that was week 6. And you don't realize 80% of your views, 50 to 80% of your views are coming from non-subscribers and non-returning viewers who've never seen you before. Every video is a first impression, but you're treating it like you're talking to the same people every week. One of the reasons we do an intro at the beginning of this workshop is we're assuming that this could be people's first time watching one of these live workshops, or they're watching the replay for the first time. Every time you upload is a first impression for the majority of people watching. And most creators don't know that, and they've never saw that in their analytics before. These are small things that make a big outsized difference in your approach to YouTube and how effective your channel can be. So we've got some more things to cover here in the slides. In general, through our workshops, we've been covering these 15 creator fundamentals. This is one of the most important slides I think I've ever done because I think it really encompasses the value that you have to be creating for your viewers. Now, speaking of value for your viewers, this is a Venn diagram that really encapsulate how the 0.1% of channels stand out. Now, in our other slide, we talked about these stats. And as you can see, being in that 0.1% is people pretty much in the 100,000 to 1 million subscriber range. A lot of you want to know what they're doing, what they're up to. How is it that they're growing? And the truth is, I showed you the numbers. There's no such thing as a saturated niche in YouTube. Some niches are more competitive than others, no doubt. But there are no saturated niches in YouTube. And the reason that we know there are no saturated niches in YouTube is because if YouTube was so saturated, why is it that only 3% of channels, whoops, forgot to silence my phone there. So if YouTube was so saturated, why is it only 3 to 5% of channels can only get 10,000 subscribers? Most people are not making content that is satisfying viewers and attracting an audience. So your niche isn't saturated. Most people in your niche will not have 10,000 subscribers. For all channels in all languages across YouTube, only 3 million channels in the entire world have 10,000 subscribers or more. In terms of channels that have silver play buttons like mine, globally, it's 500,000 channels. In the United States of America, if you're a US channel speaking English, it's less than 100,000 channels across every single niche and every single category of YouTube. So if we look at it from that perspective, there's probably maybe 80 niches in YouTube. Let's round it up and say there are 100 niches in YouTube, and there are 100,000 creators with silver play buttons. Half of them are YouTube Shorts creators. So if you're a long form creator, that well now it's down to 50,000 across 100 different niches. And not everybody in that niche is going to have the same perspective. So if we just divide there, we're talking about a very small and limited number of channels in every niche that can be big or that are big, which means there's plenty of room for competition. So many. So many. And I see a chat question there. Culture Club, there you might actually be one of the only channels that I will believe is shadow banned in the politics niche. And we can talk about that offline over in X. But I genuinely believe that for your channel, that you might be specifically you might be or that account might actually be having problems. So I understand you feeling personally that YouTube is rigged, but I think that what would be, I know it'd be a harsh experiment for you. I genuinely believe that a new fresh account with a new email might be a way to verify what's going on with your channel. Politics is the one category that I'll accept the argument of shadow banning in. Politics is pretty much politics slash comedy is the only category that I will genuinely accept an argument for shadow banning in. I've seen it happen twice legitimately with commentary creators that I coached. The system may be different when we fixed issues with them. The way I was able to verify it was not just because of restricted mode, but I was able to verify they were getting nearly 0 impressions. And this was even a large channel. This channel is now a 2 million subscribed channel. I think they were 600,000 at the time that we worked on this. But I will say that after 2018, there were some system changes, and I will accept for commentary, comedy, and politics. I will accept the shadow banning argument, but only for those 3 categories. And again, I don't think that that makes the system itself completely rigged. I do think that there is a problem with the suppression of that type of content specifically. But I wouldn't necessarily say that it's rigged. New channels grow all the time. Politics is dicey business. Um, yes, DePaul and if you were a regular YouTube channel, shadow banning is mostly an excuse people use. Overall, it's not common at all. Even among all channels, it is a very, 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 very outlier specific thing. And the hedge is largely politics. It's also not in my understanding, by the way, there's a there are things that would trip that. I don't really want to get super into this because it's derailing from the larger thing of we're trying to get most creators up and running here. But I'll talk about this at another time, or I'll talk about this at the end of the stream because I'm digressing when what we need to talk about is how channels actually succeed when they're not being tripped up by politics. So, in general, the thesis for growing a YouTube channel is the thesis for growing a YouTube channel is a combination and intersectionality of these four dimensions: effort, quality, value, and consistency. Value is usually around packaging for the viewers. Effort is also the perceived uniqueness and difficulty, and also status signals that exist within a title, topic, thumbnail combination. High quality is the experience created for the viewer, what we sometimes hear from YouTube called viewer enjoyment. And consistency is a combination of brand consistency, but also output and frequency of content. But it has to be consistency also across themes and across style and expectations, so on and so forth. So this would be important. Now, one other thing to keep in mind, by the way, is there are aspects of this that have different impacts. For example, retention would be a combination of high effort content usually and high quality content more than anything. That doesn't mean value or consistency don't play a role there, but the strongest aspect of that it for retention is the effort put into the idea of the video and the execution of the video, and then the quality of the experience that resulted from that effort would be the sweet spot of retention on videos for retention, view duration, watch time, etc. So all those things. When it comes to subscriber growth, it would be quality and consistency. So an experience that converts you to being a subscriber, but also enough videos for you to be convinced to become a subscriber. One video doesn't make someone into a subscriber usually. It's multiple videos. So high consistency with high quality is a combination that churns growth in subscribers. An example of this would be Casey Neistat during his peak combined high quality with high consistency in a way that we'd never seen before on YouTube, and he exploded in subscribers at a rate that almost nobody had at the time. So that is incredibly powerful. From a monetization standpoint, if you have high value videos from a packaging standpoint that are driving clicks, and there's also a strong audience connection there, and there's high consistency. This has the highest potential to drive monetization if you're getting a lot of views on your videos or decent views on your videos because they're high value to the viewer. And then you're also publishing consistently, you have the highest potential for monetization because of volume. So that would play the biggest role here. For views overall in CTR, high effort content is difficult to duplicate. So now it's unique and it's a driver for a destination channel. And then if the value, the packaging is strong, then these are things that would result in the highest potential for views and the highest potential for click-through rate. And when you combine all these things together, you make a strong destination channel that starts YouTube sessions, creates returning viewership, and so on and so forth. So those are things that work in general. This is the general. And by the way, this doesn't just apply to YouTube. This applies to content in general, but specifically, this applies heavily when we talk about YouTube. So these are the most popular entertainment formats. We now call these styles, I guess, on YouTube because now we call formats shorts, verticals, lives, regular videos, etc. But in terms of the styles of videos, these would be the most popular styles of YouTube videos for entertainment, which would be reactions, commentary, cooking slash food videos, including mukbangs, family vlogging, lifestyle content, which is the new vlogging, music channels like Lo-Fi Girl, art and drawing channels, TV and movie reviews, theories and fan fiction, gaming channels across all gaming genres, vlogging, still at least aesthetically, um, travel and outdoor videos, sports and sports recap videos, adventure and challenges, really good example of the adventure and challenges that aren't necessarily travel would be Cassie Aaron, for example. Food videos that are challenges, that'd be people like Magic Mitch, for example, or even Good Mythical Morning. For documentary and film, you'd be looking at more of a James Johnny. You would be looking more at a Magnates Media or a Dodford. For animation, you've got people like Jaden Animations, you've got Young Don, you got all kinds of types there. Scripted shows and series can still do well on YouTube, as well as non-scripted shows and series. Hot Ones comes to mind, for example. You have IRL based content and reality TV style content on YouTube doing very well. You could argue that that kind of content is a lot of what the Sidemen do. The Sidemen probably are a really good example of this IRL reality TV style content as well. You have a lot of the UK YouTubers doing this. Max Vosh comes to mind as well. Dating shows like Pop the Balloon or 20 versus 1. True crime channels like my friend Kimberlea. And of course, the old standby prank videos. You've all probably seen the gold digger pranks on YouTube. So these are the entertainment style channels. And we mentioned art already. That'd be like Draw with Jazza, for example. Art and drawing channels. Draw with Jazza. Author over at Art Attack is another example. So on and so forth. So we have music channels, we have Lo-Fi Girl, you have Zenbuster Music, you have people like Katie Ukulele, you have Sound of the Rain, people like that. So those would be examples of music channels. So there's a lot of different varieties of entertainment style formats on YouTube that have been known to be popular. This doesn't encapsulate every single entertainment style channel on YouTube, but most of the more popular ones that you can think of in terms of entertainment style videos would be here. So that's the kind of thing. I would say that to some degree, things like creation and build channels and furniture making could be entertainment style videos rather than how-to videos. What comes to mind is Simone Yurts with her inventions. You also have Unnecessary Inventions. That guy does stuff like that. Those type of channels do come to mind. So you could fit them in here. As I said, this is not every single type of entertainment channel that I could think of. It is the majority of the most popular types of entertainment channels on YouTube. So that's what I would say about that. Um, The main thing here is that these different types of entertainment channels all have different types of people who are attracted to them, and your vibe attracts their tribe. But there are some general rules with regard to what will work for most content creation in general, but also specifically entertainment channels in particular. Entertainment channels have to focus much, much more on um, packaging and positioning than you might think they do. To a degree, a lot of people think that there is a such thing as YouTube easy mode. I disagree with that idea. I do not believe that YouTube easy mode is real. I believe that there are some very clever people who can make things look easy because they are unpolished at a surface level. But unpolished at a surface level is often a illusion. It is a trick. Not done maliciously, not done misleadingly, but still an illusion nonetheless. There are people so talented that they can make things look easy. For example, if you are an attractive doctor wearing your scrubs, you may not have to go hard on making a YouTube thumbnail. You might be able to take a selfie style thumbnail in that situation and get a lot of views because you're attractive and then you're a doctor. You signal status and social proof. So maybe you don't have to work as hard for that. If you're a fitness trainer, maybe just snapping a selfie in the gym of your physique is enough to get views on YouTube because you have status and social proof and you're attractive. So those things can give you an edge. And for a normal person, they can't duplicate that success. They don't have the results from doing those things to get away with a lazy thumbnail. So there is that aspect of it. But in general, what drives views on YouTube is the perception of value for the viewer up front. So at a glance, topic, title, thumbnail, timing. Topic is the most important thing because the idea behind your video is important, and your idea also qualifies or disqualifies the viewer. An example would be if you were doing commentary and you were doing politics, then there's a good chance that depending on what side you take on that issue could disqualify some people from wanting to watch you. They may not want to watch something based on how it makes them feel or based on the side that you take. The same thing in a commentary style video that is a feud. If you take a different side in a feud between celebrities, an example would be the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni thing. You could alienate viewers because they may not watch you if you take what they perceive to be the wrong side in an issue. So your topic qualifies your viewers. You can only get as many views or as people are interested in the idea and the topic. Now we're talking about entertainment channels. I'll give you a primary example. If you make a video, and I did entertainment videos in my early days in YouTube, I would do them on the weekends when I thought back in the early days before I knew better, when you could post everything on one channel. Um, I would do Game of Thrones reviews in the early seasons of Game of Thrones. I did early Game of Thrones reviews. Those videos are now privated. Um, I could get 20, 50,000 views on that. Even when I was a smaller channel, I could get more views on that than I have subscribers. Why would that be the case? Because Game of Thrones had millions upon millions upon millions of fans. And I was uploading a video that was a reaction and review video the night after the same night as the episode, so Sunday night. Usually by midnight on Sunday night, I'd have a reaction and a review app after my first blind watch of an episode. And I would put the characters, I wouldn't put myself in the thumbnail. It would just be the characters in the thumbnail, and usually a shot from the show, a screenshot from the show while I was watching on HBO Max. At the time, I think it was HBO Go, or was it HBO Max at the time? I forget. But anyway, the point is, I had a thumbnail that signaled what the show was about. I had a title that told you it was a reaction or review. The timing was right there for anyone that has a real hankering to watch the video right away, but also it would alienate anyone who didn't want spoilers because I wasn't doing spoiler-free reactions or reviews. So it would immediately be spoilers. So that could alienate some people, but attract others. So again, topic, title, thumbnail, and timing all play a role in the value for the viewer in an entertainment style video. So do keep that in mind. So that is the general thesis of how you get views on YouTube. Everything happens right here up front before they click on a video. No one knows anything about the quality of your videos. Now, what a lot of YouTubers do is they will tell you make quality content, but they're using the word quality as a substitute for value. And people would say that I'm mincing words, but value is about expectations and quality is about experience. If you need a way to differentiate value from quality, and I don't blame YouTubers, big YouTubers per se, for getting these terms conflated, but it is important. And it's just that they don't necessarily, they're not teachers, so they wouldn't know how to communicate this. They're not teachers, they're not writers. And that's no disrespect to anybody. It just means that their communication style is the communication style of a younger person, usually in their teens or 20s. They're not thinking about how to teach and communicate this. Value is about expectations, quality is about experience. So, the value for the viewer, the topic, title, thumbnail, and timing set your expectations for what a video is about and what you're going to get out of it. The quality happens after you click, and then that's the experience that you have of the storytelling, the style, the structure, and the substance. So that's why it would matter. Now, for thumbnails, we have a framework we teach in Awesome Creator Academy. I teach this to my coaching clients, I teach this to my students. This is really important to note. The Vibes framework focuses on visually attractive at a glance, interesting idea at a glance, bold text and contrast with your colors, eye-catching elements, and then social proof or status in the thumbnail. If we think of the most successful channels on YouTube, and we're going to look at several of them here, and you really think about what makes them effective, you can see how these thumbnails all do the thing that I am claiming that they would need to do. So if we look at Good Golf, one of the biggest channels on YouTube who redefined the sports niche on YouTube, look at their thumbnails. Bright contrasting colors. There are things here that have attractive visual elements that are eye-catching. They utilize status and social proof in many of them, like Happy Gilmore. Can pro golfers win a match swinging like Happy Gilmore? Again, that's appealing to a popular movie that's getting a sequel. Same thing with putting money in the title, things like Girls versus Boys. You can see how these things are mostly using the vibes framework. You have to use most of the things in the vibes framework, but not having one of them in there isn't a deal breaker necessarily if you have the other things and they're strong enough. But generally speaking, if we pass the vibes check, we will have a successful video. And you can see how Good does that. HopeScope is another example that we're going to do in our case study here. And you can see how HopeScope makes visually attractive thumbnails at a glance. They are interesting ideas at a glance. They have bold colors and text where they need to, and they use contrast. Look at the contrast of the pink and the blue a lot of the times in her thumbnails. So these are strong contrasts that she creates. She even creates contrast with the split thumbnail style of a comparison of before, after, and so on and so forth. So the split style is something that works very well for Hope Scope. It immediately creates contrast, has eye-catching elements, and she conveys things and that often also have signal status or social proof of some kind. Usually the social proof in hers is that she has the item that she's talking about in her hand, or that she has a large amount of these items, or she's using and leveraging name brands in her content. So you had an example of that with both Good Good and with Hopescope. You have um, Frenchie Fries. Frenchie Fries does the same thing. He has before and afters. It creates contrast, strong visual elements. He doesn't always rely on text, but he does always use bold contrast and colors in his thumbnails. He's created a signature brand for himself with regard to things that he has in terms of repeating eye-catching elements, like his hard hat and his safety vest. So these are things that Frenchie Fries integrated into his YouTube channel when he started getting traction. You could see how his YouTube channel was 6 years ago when he wasn't doing these things and why he struggled for years before becoming a successful YouTuber. Now, his thumbnails weren't bad, but his strategy wasn't great, and we'll talk more about strategy. But in the earliest days of his channel, he could only get breakout views during the fidget spinner trend on YouTube, and that didn't always work for him. He kept trying it, and it got to a point to where it got really stale. But there was a point where he broke out for fidget spinners 8 years ago, could only get views on fidget spinner videos, or at least large views. And then there was a point where no one cared anymore. And he tried other things. He tried a lot of things desperately and could not get them to grow. He even tried a Casey Neistat style daily vlogging era, quite literally in many cases copying Casey Neistat, and that didn't work. He had a small stint of doing product reviews and unboxings. That didn't get him traction. He couldn't become a reviewer or a tech YouTuber. What ultimately started to work is he started to do storytelling content, and he ended up doing things that started to become a little bit more interesting to other teenagers on YouTube. And so when you realize that his big appeal was a teenage audience, we've talked about audience avatar in a lot of these videos. He started packaging his content really around the idea of these videos that would appeal to his teenage audience. And so he did this breakout video. My parents told me to clean my room, so I made my dream gaming setup. There's a lot of things that went on in that video, but you can see why it was a breakout video. Um, and then here's the beginning of his signature look. The hard hat and the vest come into play in the thumbnails and not just in the video now. And so destroying my parents' TV and surprising them with a new one. He tried other things, realized those things weren't working as well. He tried leaning into a little bit of the Jake Paul demographic because Jake Paul and David Dobrik were the people, teenagers and young people of his demographic were impressed with. So he tried a bunch of different things and they didn't work. He returned to a staple. He made a new video of my parents told me to clean their room, so I made their dream gaming setup. And so he started to realize there were patterns and themes. He still kept experimenting, but he realized that there were patterns and themes to videos that would attract a teenage audience. And they became these spectacle storytelling videos. And his most successful series are these my parents told me to do something, and so I did something crazy instead, and integrating his parents and his friends into his videos. And I just use this as an example of someone who was a struggling YouTuber 5 years ago to illustrate the point I made at the very, very beginning. I made the point at the very beginning of the workshop of the struggling small YouTuber taking 5 to 7 years to be successful? Well, Frenchie Fries is an example of that exact struggle bus YouTuber, and you can see where he was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and what it took for him to have his breakout success now. And so now, as you can see, he's consistent in his themes, like we talked about earlier about high consistency. Now, again, his upload frequency is not consistent. He makes extremely high effort, difficult content, but his branding is consistent, like we talked about. But he only went to quality over quantity once he understood what was working, and he had to make a lot of videos to get to that point. So it took a lot of experimentation. And to further illustrate this point, I'm going to show you his actual channel history and growth here. So he literally was a struggling YouTuber all the way from 2015 all the way until 2019. And so you could see that that is what it took for him to be successful. His peak success was a 7-year journey. His breakout success was about roughly a 5-year journey. And so you can see that illustrated in his timeline. So I wanted to use that as a quick aside as we go through our slides to illustrate the importance of the Vibes framework for thumbnails, but also with those channels and with also even Frenchie Fries like story, the importance of the clicks framework for titles. Titles, now we did a dedicated workshop to thumbnails and titles, but I want to bring that up in the context of entertainment channels because this becomes very important. Concise wording, leveraging psychology of the viewer, identifying with the viewer, compelling emotions, keyword triggers, status, and social proof. And you see those things present in a lot of these titles of different videos and different channels that we looked at. Now, a good example of this is Good Golf. So at Good Golf, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And they are an entertainment channel. They are a sports entertainment channel. They are the premier sports and entertainment channel. So if you look at their titles, a lot of their titles are concise in their language. They do leverage the psychology of the viewer. Primary example, we played Donald Trump's secret golf course. That is an appeal to curiosity, leveraging the psychology of curiosity, and also a notable, recognizable name in the golf world. Also the president of the United States. So there is also status and social proof involved in that. It also shows you have access to an uncommon experience. Um, the worst golfers in Good challenge a PGA Tour pro to a match. That's status and social proof right there, like we talked about. That's also triggering a curiosity loop with saying the worst golfers in Good. So that is something that we see playing out with regard to the titles here. And so if we look at the clicks framework, you can see exactly how that works within the most successful channels in YouTube, where they are making their titles as short as they need to be, but no longer. They're leveraging psychology. They're identifying with the viewer's priorities and preferences. They're compelling emotions. They're using keyword triggers, and they try often to convey status and social proof. So, high effort content. The idea behind high effort content, and not all of you qualify as a smaller content creator to make high effort content, but some of you could, as a challenge for yourself. This was actually how Mr. Beast broke out. Mr. Beast broke out not because he gave $10,000 to a homeless man. That's all anyone remembers. Mr. Beast got viral for reading the dictionary cover to cover in a single video and for saying Logan Paul's name 10,000 times, counting to 10,000. So those are things that he did with incredible difficulty that allowed him to have breakout views. Another viral video of his when he was broke was sawing a table in half with plastic forks. So there are things that you could do as a small content creator that don't necessarily cost money that would allow you to get views because it's a weird idea, weird story, or something that is very difficult to do. A lot of the gamers that I coach get views because they do difficult feats. Um, an example is I've coached Brawl Stars creators who've done something like I pushed 1,000 trophies in one day. And that is an extremely hard feat to do in the game Brawl Stars, for example. So they do challenge videos within their game. There are many big YouTubers in the first person shooter community, in the Fortnite community, in the PUBG community. Like my friend Lance Powerbang, he used to be a legend in PUBG back in the day. He's an older gamer. He did some videos, and some of them were him pulling off an insane stunt or trick shot in the game that had never been done before. So it will be things like that. Another example in the real world is my friend Jordan Haber. He is a former law school student who snuck into the NBA draft without being a pro athlete, a college basketball player, or any of that. He had no real background for this. He just exploited a loophole in the NBA draft agreement because of his background as a law student. He found a loophole in the NBA draft and got himself into the NBA draft and shook hands with the commissioner of the NBA and everything. He went viral on TikTok for this story. He also got featured on mainstream news within the sports world, was on Fox. I think he was on MSNBC or Good Morning America, one of those. So he got mainstream press and attention. And people really talk about it even to this day that, yeah, there was this law student, there was this Jewish kid who was a law student who broke into the NBA draft as a prank and was actually legit able to do it by exploiting a legal loophole in the contract. So there are things like that that allow people to break out and go viral that don't cost money. It's a matter of effort. Jordan was able to do this because he had smarts and the legal background. That's not a money thing. That's a smarts thing. So people can do high effort things. My friend Cassie Aaron has had breakout viral content before in TikTok and YouTube because she drove a toy car all the way from one end of the state of Florida to another. She also did another one where she rollerbladed from one end of the state of Florida to another. I think she set a record doing that. So there are things that only take effort, not money, that would allow someone to break out in YouTube and potentially either go viral or get outlier views and do well. I had a video that wasn't viral per se, but gave me a unique opportunity that other people didn't have. But I'll save that story for later because it's less a matter of effort and more a matter of the fact that I leveraged something that people value that only I could get access to at the time. So that would be an example. High value content. So this is the one I'm going to tell the story on. High value content. And then of course we have consistency and quality, but high value content, value for the viewer. There was a video that I did that got I think it got 250,000 views in 2 weeks. So at the time for me, that wasn't viral in general, but it was viral for my size and for my normal views at the time. So I got like 250,000 views in 2 weeks. The way that happened was I got access to something that even the biggest tech YouTubers couldn't get access to at the time. So the story is that I was a speaker at Adobe Max. It's a big conference in the creative community. I was a speaker at Adobe Max. During this time, a new device was being talked about in the tech community. It was the Microsoft Surface Studio. It was a giant computer screen slash drawing tablet for artists. And its things was huge. I think it was like a 40-inch drawing tablet screen with a computer built in. The Microsoft Surface Studio is the first version of it. brand new device category from Microsoft. The only two video reviews you could find for it for a long time were iJustine and CNET, and the third one was me, because they had problems shipping these out to the big YouTubers for an embargo. And so iJustine and the people at CNET got it first. And 2 days after they posted their videos, I was able to post my video because I was at Adobe Max and they had a bunch of these showcased. And so I was one of the only people that was smart enough to film myself at Adobe Max in the real world with this Microsoft Surface Studio. And I did a very simple thumbnail. And I think I can actually show you this. I'm gonna see if it still comes up in YouTube search, which it might. It might still come up in, yep, it still does. And ultimately that video went on to get even more views. So here's the video in YouTube search. I searched for it. Microsoft Surface Studio hands-on review, still ranking very high in YouTube search. I am the 5th non-sponsored video there. And so this video in its first week got 250,000 views, I think. Unheard of for me at the time. 600,000 views for the channel. And it's a hands-on review of the Microsoft Surface Studio. And I made the thumbnail as easy to understand the value of the video as possible, because you could see that I had access in the real world to the product and was drawing with it, which means you knew it was not clickbait. The title and thumbnail spoke for themselves. Now, at that time, the only people with hands-on access to it were me, iJustine, and CNET. And I was a real-world review with it in the wild, which also made my video different than both of theirs, because theirs were, studio-based reviews, and, I was in the real world, so that added another dimension to it. And I was drawing with it in the real world, hands-on. And I am like a more, let's say at the time, a more normal person. I wasn't iJustine with 1 million plus subscribers at the time. I think she had 2 or 3 million at the time. I wasn't a reporter from CNET. So they were getting to see how is a real person in the real world react to this new technology. And so that made the video have novelty, uniqueness, and something different that it brought to the table. And it was early. So because I was able to take advantage of a topic that had big attention, it's a new device category from Microsoft, and it's a new release. Almost no one had access to it at the time, so it's timing. I'm early to a video, beating everybody but iJustine and CNET with a release of a video. The thumbnail proves that it's not clickbait, and I have the device in my hands in the real world, and the title conveys that as well. I had the perfect storm to get massive views and get 250,000 views week 1 of posting this, and no competition. So those things help. Being early helps. Topic, title, thumbnail, and timing. Value for the viewer. Now, again, that one was a education style video because it is a tech product review. So again, I understand that we're teaching about the concept of entertainment channels, but I wanted to just demonstrate to you the concept here of how this works. So value for the viewer in general is down to this topic, title, thumbnail, and timing combination, because it helps set their expectations, and it's about appealing to their preferences and priorities at a glance. Their preference and priorities at a glance. So that becomes important. With high consistency content, remember, I went from 20,000 to 100,000 in 14 months because I posted every day, just straight, and with no loss in quality for doing it. Now, why? Because my standard of quality was an acceptable threshold of quality, and my type of content didn't demand high levels of editing or scripting or storytelling, because I mostly was doing tech products, and tutorials on software, and also speaking from my own real world experience. So my videos didn't require extensive research, nor did they require scripting. I had these products, used these products, was either able to give my first impressions, my long-term impressions, or my experiences and my insights on them, or show you how to use them. The editing wasn't that intensive because the production in video was not only me delivering the things, but it was cutting in B-roll of the hands-on experience. So yes, I had to shoot a bunch of B-roll, but that only took me maybe a half an hour to shoot. I'm dropping it in the places that it needs to go, and I'm giving my opinions, my thoughts, and my experiences, and I don't have to script. I can use outlines if anything. So that means that turning around a video every day, if I was only trying to do it every day, was a 2-hour experience. In my case, though, I was batch recording multiple things at once. So I'd have a filming day, an editing day, then another filming day, then another editing day. And then I'd have a planning day. And that was basically how I made my content. I would make 5 videos at a time. I would edit 2 to 3 videos at a time, upload and schedule them in advance. And for a long time, I was at least 1 week ahead on content. So this helped me, and this is why I was able to be a daily content creator, because I wasn't trying to film, edit, shoot, and plan a video all in one day. I was planning multiple videos in advance, shooting them in advance, shooting my B-roll in advance, and then editing my videos all in batches, in bulk, and then uploading them in bulk. And so that was what allowed me to be consistent without compromising on quality. If you're doing scripted content or lightly scripted content, vlog style content, doing art, doing DIY, doing these other things that are more intensive, it might take you much longer and you may not be able to be a daily content creator. I'm not prescribing being a daily content creator. When I did increase my quality, I still found that when I went to 3 videos a week, that I could still do 100,000 new subscribers gained in a year when I did 3 videos a week. The main thing is I would have to make the quality of the videos high enough for people who watch them to subscribe to them. That was the key. So this is ultimately what allowed me and has allowed many other creators to grow, is understanding these primary concepts when it comes to content. Now, what makes for high quality content is style, structure, storytelling. You need good video and audio production, a unique visual aesthetic to catch people's attention, and you need to deliver the goods when it comes to an emotionally investable experience. So that is important, and you have to prioritize that. So if you can manage that, then your videos can be much more successful. Quality has some subjective elements in terms of preferences and taste, but there are some objective versions of quality too, like good audio, good lighting, and good video production quality are not subjective. They are technical, and therefore they are objective. We know bad audio when we hear it, and it's a problem that can be overcome with the right tech and using it properly. Now, in general, entertainment channels have to have broader appeal in order to work, in most cases anyway. Education channels can be much more narrow in their scope and their niche. So when you are making content with the idea of attracting a large audience, the real goal is, could a casual viewer who is bored and doesn't even know what they want see your video, become interested in it, click on it, and be emotionally invested in it? That is the key for entertainment videos. There's a different value proposition for education videos. I would argue that education videos rely more on problems and that entertainment videos rely more on preferences. So I think that that is something very important to keep in mind. And understanding your audience avatar and and appealing to them, something we've talked about in our previous episodes of these workshops, is something that makes a difference in knowing what the taste of your viewers actually are. And when you know the taste of those viewers, you can manage to create ideas and topics, titles, and thumbnails, and get the timing right because you understand the people that you're trying to attract and appeal to. You also have to remember that more and more of these viewers are watching the content on connected televisions. So they are having increasingly higher demands for the quality of content they want to watch on their television set. They're not just scrolling mindlessly in their smartphone, at least if they're not watching shorts. So, with that in mind, you have to consider how your content and your channel packaging even looks on television sets. A lot of you would be surprised by how many of your viewers watch on television sets. So we brought up Frenchie Fries earlier, and we did a little bit of a case study on him about how 5 years ago he was a small YouTuber struggling to get views and subscribers, and his breakout videos were on fidget spinners, but he couldn't grow past that until he embraced this storytelling and spectacle content and really branded himself effectively. And you saw that when we looked at his YouTube channel. And so, as you can see, his YouTube channel is incredibly unique. And he found a brand and a theme and a style for himself that he was able to become known for. But again, it's a journey that he started after a lot of experimentation, trial and error, and a lot of failures. And remember, years ago, he was still doing very different content, and you can see the jump in the branding and the quality and consistency of his content. For the most part, what he did was he took his most viral video ever, and I would argue he took his most viral video ever and made it his whole personality, at least as far as his YouTube channel. So as you can see, he makes for a very interesting creator case study. But he's not the only one. Good Golf, I would argue, brought big creator energy from the very beginning because they set out to change golf content because golf content on YouTube was boring and they wanted to make it more extreme. If you look at their oldest content from 4 years ago, at least the oldest content still live on their channel, they started out objectively making weird, different content at very high quality and very high effort, and they've been doing this for 4 years and 600 videos, and they've been doing multiple videos a week for a good while. They have the highest quality content you might find in the sports niche on YouTube, certainly in the golf niche, but they upload consistently. Now, what allows them to do that is obviously they have a team of people working on this. In fact, Good Golf is itself a collective. It's not just one person in terms of who's in the videos, but they have people working behind the scenes. And while that's not necessarily accessible to the small creator, it just shows you that somebody can come along and redefine their entire niche. They started out brand new as the smallest channel in their niche, and they became the biggest channel in their niche. But it's because they were willing to make high value, high effort content at high quality and high consistency in a way that never been done before, and they disrupted their entire niche on YouTube. So that makes all the difference. And then we have Hope Scope, one of the most successful female content creators that I've seen on the platform. She's incredibly talented, And if you look at her content, she's been doing YouTube for a very long time, but it's a drastic change between what content she started with and the content she does now looks nothing like this and feels nothing like this. So she did a complete pivot, which shows you it is possible to pivot and change your direction on YouTube. Now, in most cases, most people would have to start a completely new channel. But her pivot makes more sense when you consider how often she reviewed products in this niche of sports and athletic gear and Lululemon. So the thing is, product reviews were something that was a common theme in her channel, but it was in a more narrow scope and it did have broad appeal. This was highly female-centric content, and she was able to pivot from this activewear niche and targeting more of a Instagram aesthetics type audience, and she was able to expand from there. And again, if you look at where her channel was a few years ago, this pivot starts to make a lot more sense of where her content is today. So just kind of keep that in mind. And so her content starts to evolve at some point here, and we're getting closer to it, to where there's a pivot where she leaves this activewear niche to get into a broader audience around more consumer products. So it goes in the direction of from the activewear to other things that she can look into, like the Kardashians clothing line and more Lululemon stuff in general, sure. But then she just starts trying on things like the weirdest clothes on Instagram. This is that first broad appeal content that was breakout content for her that had nothing to do with activewear and what she was originally known for. So she goes further and she buys these celebrity remakes of dresses. She goes further and buys the worst Fashion Nova items. So she moves from activewear to a broader niche of clothing reviews that appeal to a female audience. Then, over a very a period of time, she goes from that into these TikTok products. And so it's not just about dresses anymore, it's the most viral TikTok products. And she realizes that it doesn't always have to be clothing. And then she does more and more of these things that are just about products in general, and starts to break into the broader category of product centric content. Yes, with a primarily female audience slant, just not clothing being the only thing she's willing to cover. So there's more of these TikTok trends, and okay, I'm trying viral products, and she tries things like this Lost and Found series and so on and so forth. So you can see that she didn't do a complete 100% pivot or code switch on the audience. It was a gradual way of introducing content where overlap with her existing audience and viewer avatar existed. Primary example, she didn't switch from a female audience to a male audience. She still did heavily female-centric content that would appeal to women of varying ages, but she gradually went from activewear to clothing and dresses and clothing in general to products in general. So it was an evolution, and she warmed up the audience to the pivot and direction in her content. It wasn't something that she did cold turkey. You may have noticed she also only slowly pulled back the activewear content. She mixed it in. She didn't abandon activewear outright at first. What she did was she still did things even 3 years ago, like Skims reviews, and she just started mixing in other types of content. Still did Gymshark content, still did Skims, still did um, some of these other things, still did some Lululemon stuff and its competitors, but she started mixing in this other content and warmed up the audience. So that's what worked for her. And you can see it worked very well, extremely well. And it made her a viral breakout star. And what she could have done is stayed where she was comfortable and stayed in that activewear niche. I believe she was the biggest content creator covering that content. But she evolved and grew because she wanted a broader overall audience, and it's worked. And she has over 6 million subscribers as one of the largest female YouTubers of all time. I believe that HopeScope will be a 10 million subscribed channel. And as you can see, her thumbnails are exactly what we talk about in the vibes framework. We even did in our one of our workshops on thumbnails. We recreated a couple of HopeScope's thumbnails, but said, how would we recreate these thumbnails for a male audience? But as you can see, she's a fantastic creator case study here. So when we look at these channels and we look at what they do well, they all have their own unique style. They all have their own unique approach to content and brand, and they all have different audiences. But what they have in common is they appeal to a broad group of people who could randomly choose to click on these videos if they happen to be scrolling on YouTube on their phone or on their television set. And so this is something that you have to consider is what do you have to offer that could be broad appeal, or is your content niche? Because it can be very niche, it could be more narrow. That could be your expertise. You can't always please everybody, but there are categories of YouTube that have much broader appeal than others. Food content can be watched by anyone of any age, and you could have it like it could be a male or a female audience could all still watch the same mukbang or food video or cooking video. It doesn't matter. Binging with Babish is a great example. Or my friend Benji Travis from Benjamin TV. Anyone can watch those. Family vlogging is a broad appeal category. It doesn't just appeal to children. It appeals to children, teenagers, young adults, and older adults. Slice and rice. So Matt and Glory, perfect example. Um, you know, with them being, her being Asian, him being black, them having a bunch of very cute kids, their audience seeing them grow up from being teenagers, going to college, getting married, having their first child, and then having their big family. That is something that has a broad appeal to a lot of different people. And that's why they're very successful content creators, huge channel, plenty of views. So those are one of the things that you could look at in terms of how this all works out when it comes to some of these case studies. So looking at all of that, does consistency really matter? You hear a lot of big YouTubers talk about quality over quantity. But if you look at all the channels that we just talked about, the three big channels we talked about, on average, they have hundreds of videos. Frenchie has 240 videos, but he deleted quite a few of them. HopeScope has over 500 videos on her channel. Um, and Good Golf has 600 videos on their channel. Now, again, a lot of these creators, they also deleted some of their earliest content, not all of it and not all of them, but there's potentially more, even more videos that they made that are just not public anymore that they've privated. On average, what I found, if you want to get to at least 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, on average, across all 15 major categories of YouTube that I measured, it usually takes 500 to 700 uploads to get there. That's not a guarantee, but it makes it more likely for the majority of people. And that's usually because it takes a long time to learn your skills, build up confidence, know what your audience will respond to, experiment, make mistakes, and have a bunch of videos flop. It's usually the top 20% of all of a creator's videos that give them the majority of their views following the 80-20 rule and the majority of their subscribers. And in terms of lifetime views on videos, usually 1% of all your lifetime views will translate to what your subscriber count is, at least if you're prioritizing long form views. So when you take all that into consideration, the most successful thing that has ever been proven on YouTube is making consistent content. So that becomes a staple of YouTube. There are exceptions to this rule, but to be honest, even Mr. Beast and PewDiePie and Marquez Brownlee and some of the biggest YouTubers, the overwhelming majority of them, it took them 500 to 1,000 videos to grow and be successful. People like Jared Polin, 3,000 videos. I'm at about 1,700 videos. I think 1,400 or 1,300 are public still. Um, it'll probably take me another 300 to 500 videos if I wanted to hit 1 million subscribers. I'd probably have to make 300 to 500 long form videos to do that. So if I did 150 videos a year again, like I used to, I could probably get those numbers because that's what worked for me before. So about 150 to 200 videos, 3 to 4 videos a week, all long form, maybe 3 videos and a live stream every week is probably what would do it for my channel. And that's with me being an education channel. Entertainment channels can get away to some degree with less consistency if they're making viral breakout videos. That's not usually the case. So usually at least once a week, if not 2 to 3 times a week, is the right upload cadence. I would argue the most successful pattern on YouTube is uploading 100 videos a year of long form, short form being different. So what I would say if you want to dominate nearly any niche in YouTube is focus a lot more on your ideas and consider 10 impossible ideas that would be hard for most people in your niche to create, but that you are capable of pulling off with what you have where you are right now if you just put in more effort. You don't have to do all 10 of those ideas at once, but you have to take a swing at them every now and again. And those could be a breakout video for you. I would say attempt even early in your career to bring big creator energy and to package as perfectly as you can early on to drive more demand to your videos at a glance. If your thumbnails are good, people may not even need to see your titles in order to click on them. You got to hook the viewer with good audio, good lighting, and at least a decent video experience. Sure, you can film on your phone, but I don't think the audio on the phone is good enough. The audio should be better. The quickest way to lose an audience is bad audio. If your face is going to be on camera, be well lit. Be well lit. It's distracting when you don't have good lighting, and you become more attractive when you have good lighting. So I think that that's important. Consider that the uniqueness of your videos should be more on storytelling, aesthetic style. You don't have to do crazy editing. Remember, Casey Neistat was successful with barely editing his content, and he only used the basic features in Final Cut Pro. There was no fancy Mr. Beast editing, and he did just fine. It was production that really helped him and storytelling that helped him. Be as consistent as you can on delivering on your promises in a video and keeping the same energy. If you can do those things, it is possible to be a successful channel with 100K subscribers in any niche in YouTube today. It is still possible. It is not saturated with an abundance of quality. YouTube is really only saturated with one thing. YouTube is saturated with mediocre content from creators who do low quality, low effort, low value content with low consistency. YouTube is only saturated with a mediocre majority. There is no embarrassment of riches in every niche. If you are a content creator in America that speaks English, there are less than 100,000 channels with silver play buttons, and most of them are shorts creators at this point. There is not as much competition in your niche as you think there is. The majority of people have not seen content worth subscribing to yet. There is always an opportunity for you to deliver and be that creator for them, but you will have to work a bit harder than you are doing now. And that's just the truth of it. Now, again, we invite you to check out Awesome Creator Academy. If you go to www.awesomecreatoracademy.com/join, you can check out the pro group and everything we have to offer there. We do weekly live office hour sessions as a group. You'll be with me and my co-instructor. We also have training. We don't have a full course yet. We have training. We have 100 hours of exclusive video training across 12 different categories for content creators based on the skills and things they need. And so I would highly encourage you to at least see what we have to offer and see if it's something that fits for you. We also have the VIP level of the Academy program if you want to get quarterly one-on-one coaching calls with me. I also offer paid one-on-one channel reviews, or if you can't hop on a 30-minute call with me, your schedule doesn't work for that, or your budget doesn't work for that, I can record a channel review with you, 15 minutes, where I record that for you and email it to you with my thoughts on your channel, where I'll basically record in StreamYard or OBS, review your channel like we do similar to our Friday channel reviews that are public reviews. So that'll be in private just for your own use. I won't post it on YouTube anywhere, and you can have that for yourself. So we do that. If you're someone who is more leaning toward you need something more than a 30-minute review, or you need something more than a recorded review, I do offer 90-minute strategy sessions one-on-one for people who want them. So that is an offer that's out there for you. You can check that out at awesomecreatoracademy.com. So that's it for the slides, and that's it for the overall presentation. I can answer a few questions here in the chat since we still have time. We got through the workshop in 90 minutes, even with interruptions, even with tangents, and we covered the main things that I wanted to focus on there. So I'm very happy with that overall. We have 2 super chats. Oh, great. So we have living in Omaha from David Matney, $5 super chat. Roberto, what's one piece of advice you'd give yourself if you could travel back in time and speak to yourself as a new creator? It's more than one piece of advice. It's kind of a 3-part advice. Number one, start sooner and get over insecurity and just start sooner would probably be the biggest, most important overall piece of advice, if I'm being fully honest. Just not having the confidence and courage to start is a big deal. I wish that I'd been consistent early on, started and never stopped. I wish I had started and uploaded as much as possible in being consistent in 2009 and never stopped uploading. I should have vlogged in 2009 as a foundation. When I moved to New York in 2010 and I was working in New York, I should have vlogged the whole year and a half that I lived in New York and worked at the ad agency. That would have been a big deal at the time, and it would have set me up for a lot more success, and it would have built my confidence up. And then by the time I moved to the education style content, it would have actually fit, because my vlogging lifestyle content in 2010 would have been me starting my career as a young professional in, well, no, not starting, continuing my young career, but starting my life in New York as a young person in my 20s, as a millennial, doing my career, working my dream job at the time, as a graphic designer, doing advertising, doing billboards, doing sports entertainment, doing billboards in Times Square, like the Khan Madonna fight for HBO, sports, like our the head of our agency, he was best friends with Eric Kessler at the time, who was the president at HBO. And so our agency was always getting work from them. Our VP, Pete, had friends from his days at Madison Square Garden, Rainbow Media. He worked for the Dolan family, so we were getting MSG stuff. I got to work on Big Ten Network's Big Ten Icons thing. I got to work on the ad campaign for Joanne Joanne and Melissa Rivers show at the time before she passed away. The Bette Midler special, the Bruce Springsteen special. I got to do a poster for that. The Who else? Just a bunch of these things. So I got to do a bunch of these comedy things. Oh, I used to do posters for some of the Bill Maher stuff, and also the real Bryant Gumbel stuff as well. So Real Time with Bill Maher and also the Bryant Gumbel stuff for the sports side. So I got to do a lot of cool stuff. The Margarito Pacquiao fight. So it was things like that, and I should have been vlogging that experience, right? So my thing is, I wish I just started with the confidence to share things I was passionate about more consistently and to talk about my experiences. And I had a very unique experience, a very unique period of time when I lived in New York that I should have vlogged and captured for my own memories, but also put out into the world and had more confidence. So I wish I'd started with confidence and worked myself up to that. Missed opportunity. I really regret that. And then being consistent would be important. With that, it wouldn't have been a daily thing. It could have been a weekly or twice a week thing, and that would have been great. When I did go daily, in hindsight, it's fine that there was a point where I stopped doing daily, but what I wish is I never stopped uploading during the pandemic, taking multiple breaks off and barely uploading and cutting my uploads by 80% killed a lot of the momentum of my channel. To get the growth that I used to have back, I'd have to upload either every day or 200 videos a year to get my old growth back, to get back to 10,000 subscribers a month. And if I'd never stopped during the pandemic, I'd have a gold play button right now. I'd have 1 million subscribers right now if I never stopped during the pandemic. So the big things are start sooner, be consistent, and then also the way that you navigate also with doing this and being consistent is I also wish I hadn't believed that I believed naively at the time, all the way from 0 to 100,000 subscribers, that nobody as a YouTuber would talk to me, care about me, or answer any of my questions because I didn't have 100,000 subscribers. I was misguided and I believed that. So I worked in isolation for 3 years, didn't try to connect with or reach out to any other big creators until I was already at like 50,000 on my way to a silver play button. And then I barely did any outreach back then. And the thing is, I should have. The only people that kind of there were like 5 people maybe in the YouTube community that I talked to at the time. It was Amy Landino, back when she was Amy Schmittauer before she got married to her husband. It was Amy Landino. It was David DeFranco, a tech YouTuber and vlogger. It was Chris Perillo, the original OG tech creator on YouTube, and it was also Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye, photography YouTuber. And I think there was like one other person in the YouTube community that helped me back then. Trying to remember exactly who it was, but I digress. So I wish that I hadn't tried to go and do everything all alone and never asked anybody for help or advice when I was insecure about things. I wish I'd had more confidence at the start and had more confidence and courage. And I wish I'd had more consistency. So the answer is courage, consistency, and community are the 3 things that I think if I could go back in time, I would talk to myself about. The salon guy, hey Roberto, had over 1 million subs for some time, and my earnings and views are at the lowest. Subs don't matter other than vanity metric. They matter for social proof and status in the fact that you'll get more collabs with 1 million subscribers than if you don't. You'll get more attention in media if you have 1 million subscribers, usually, than if you don't. And you'll have more brand deals and opportunities if you have 1 million subscribers that you don't. So subscribers matter for social proof. Subscribers haven't mattered algorithmically in about roughly 10 years. Subscribers have not helped you in the algorithm of YouTube in over 10 years. Most big creators have admitted this and talked about this. When you hear people say subscribers don't matter or it's only a vanity metric, it's partially true, but it's mostly true if all anyone cares about is views. And for most YouTube creators, they focus heavily on views. And I completely understand that because views are the ad revenue and the earnings. But they're not everybody's business model, but their majority of YouTubers' business models still tie to views. So if you're worried about if you're worried about views, primarily, then yes, subscribers don't help in any meaningful way with getting more views. Subscriber counts that are higher open more doors for collaborations, sponsorships, and for brand deals, collaboration, sponsorships, brand deals, and for other opportunities that require attention. There are even programs that you can participate in if you have 100,000 or 1 million subscribers that you can't otherwise. So it can also give you more access to resources and opportunities there to be in different programs. Primary example is if you're a creator that's playing mobile games and you play Supercell games like Clash Royale, Clash of Clans, they have a super creator program that gives you early access to sneak peeks so you can make your videos sooner than other people. You get dev access to the games, and there's other things and bonuses that you get and different opportunities. But guess what? To apply to even be a super creator working with Supercell, if you're a mobile gamer, you have to have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube to be a super creator. So that's a program that's exclusive. And there are other programs that are exclusive like that. There are other things that you can only apply to if you have 100,000 to 1 million subscribers. So the thing is, subscriber counts matter beyond a vanity metric when it comes to gatekeeping opportunities and resources. Opportunities and resources are gatekept by subscriber count. In that way, from that perspective, it is more than a vanity metric. But if your primary source of income is ever view based, then subscriber count doesn't help with that. And it doesn't help you in the algorithm. There's no algorithmic advantage. There are a lot of small YouTubers that get more views than big YouTubers. So hopefully that answers that particular question. It looks like there are 4 questions in the sheet for general questions. So let me get to that. So we have some non-super chat questions. I'm gonna need some water here. So Max Matrax says 2 months into my new channel, 455 subs, 10 long form videos. I'm not satisfied with the growth. Am I just being too impatient? Oh, you're absolutely being too impatient. Dude, if you've made 10 videos and you have 500 subs, that's abnormal. That's abnormal. Most people don't make 10 long form videos and get 500 subs. Most people, if they make 10 long form videos, they're lucky if they have 100 subscribers. I don't know what you're talking about. My friend, you are absolutely killing it and you don't even realize it. And you're 2 months in. You're 2 months in and you have 500 almost 500 subscribers. You almost qualify for this first step of monetization. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. You might think that people do that all the time, but you are only watching a handful of big creators or people who blow up or make viral content. And most people who blow up on YouTube, their whole deal is kind of rigged, quote unquote, in the fact that they come from money most of the time. It's mostly kids who come from money, whose parents will let them do YouTube and will finance their channel, or they earned it. They worked really hard over the summers. They got a bunch of money together, and then they got really good gear, or they threw all their money at making spectacle content and challenge content. Um, that's a lot of the people who blow up. A lot of the people who blow up, they're mostly not working class content creators. Most working class content creators that don't have a big advantage in their background or what they have access to, they don't grow fast. Most people, they struggle bus with growth because you have to go to school full time, you have to do chores, you work a 9 to 5 job, you've got kids. Like, people do not blow up on YouTube as often as y'all think they do. Blowing up on YouTube is rare. You just see all the exceptions. And for every person you see blow up fast on YouTube, there are literally, and I kid you not exaggerating, 50,000 people who don't have that experience. So, yeah, you're doing more than fine there. Create and Relate says, question, I'm not able to go live vertically directly in YouTube. I meet all the criteria and I have no strikes. I can only go through a third-party program. Any suggestions on how to sort this out? I would reach out to Team YouTube on X.com about that specifically, because you shouldn't have a problem. And I've known small creators who can go live on mobile. I remember the original requirement was having 50 subscribers at least, I think. And I think the main reason was security reasons because people were doing unsavory things on other platforms, and YouTube got scared about that, rightfully so, if you guys remember back in the day. So, yeah, I would reach out to them about that specifically. Right now says, "Hi Roberto, do you have any advice for creators who emphasize more on live streaming with their overall content strategy, stream daily for 470 consecutive days now to build a community? Package the streaming videos with titles and thumbnails. They're still unique so that people don't think they've seen it before and skip over it. Package them like regular YouTube videos, and package them and then perform them with replay value in mind. Perform them in such a way to where there's replay value in watching them after their live experience. Don't make the videos exclusively feel like a live experience. Make sure there's replay value in them. Um, you know, there's replay value in these workshops, for example, in my analytics workshops and things. So you would want to go from that position. The other thing I would say for live streaming is come into it in such a way to where there'll be replay value and you don't rely on the audience for energy and feedback. Primary example, if there were 0 people in the chat, I could have still done the same workshop and it would have worked. So just kind of keep those things. Dex Not Dexter says, what does high effort content look in a faceless AI channel? Dex Not Dexter, what would happen in a faceless AI channel for high effort content is you'd have to break a story. You'd have to do an investigative thing, like a CoffeeZilla style thing where you expose something or you break a story or you get access to a leak. Not very easy to do in your niche to get access to a breaking story before anybody else or to expose anything. Especially if you don't have a journalism background. If you don't have a journalism background, that'd be very hard to do, but that would be an example of what you would do in that niche. A high effort video in my niche, for example, by the way, is if I did and published a public, I'm working on this. If I publish a public case study where I get to say, I studied 1,000 viral YouTube videos and learned this, that's a video that people would click on. And that's a high effort video. And that is almost impossible for someone else to duplicate. So that'd be an example. Yeah. I want to shout out our friends over at 1of10.com for sponsoring my live streams and for supporting the YouTube channel reviews that we do on Fridays here in the evening, usually around 7:30 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. So we do channel reviews. We've had a lot of you who've done channel reviews before here in the chat. And so definitely check out 1of10.com. They have one of the best tools for YouTube ideation that I've ever seen. They've got a lot of great stuff there for you to be able to do the research on your thumbnails in your niche, narrow it down by what's been successful in the last 7, 30, or 90 days, etc. And also by channel size, view size, all these different assets there. You could also find the other channels in your niche to do research and competitor analysis. So it's incredibly helpful as a tool. You should try it for free. Use code AWESOME at checkout, and you can try it for free and see if it even works for you. And if you like it, you can get 50% off when you buy it by using code Roberto, and they'll give you 50% off. And I believe that's lifetime 50% off. So make sure you're checking that out. 1of10.com. Use code AWESOME for the free trial, or for the 50% off deal, use code Roberto at checkout. Great tool. A lot of people that we've coached have been using it successfully, and it's done really well for them. I use it to research things for a lot of the channels that I work with and that I help. And so highly recommend that. I also would tell you, in terms of one of the best ways to fix your audio out there, they're not a sponsor, but one of the best ways to fix your audio is using the Adobe podcast tool, which is free. They have an audio enhanced podcast tool. It's an AI tool that can fix the air conditioning, background noise, the echo and tinniness in your sound. It's really good and it's free, at least right now. So for fixing your audio, I would take advantage of that. When you're done with the file and you export it, though, you do have to convert the audio file to stereo because it'll output as mono. So you want to fix that. But other than that, you can get studio quality audio correction without having to actually learn that skill. And it's free. So that's like one of the best free tools out there. So highly would recommend that. Yeah, Kay, you said you learned it took your ukulele out of the audio. Yeah, you have to be careful with that kind of stuff for sure. There's a way that I would do things differently with the audio recording for your ukulele channel. Like I would have a different audio source for picking up the instrument and then a different audio source for picking up your voice. But that's a whole nother conversation. And yes, reminder, the live will be up for replay after this recording. We usually will have timestamps added the next day. Usually either Katie or Doug from the mod team handles the timestamps. So we usually try to get those up. And we might need to check and make sure there aren't any ones that I missed the timestamps on. And we'll make sure we get those taken care of for you. We're also gonna add a link before tomorrow morning where you'll have access to download my slide presentation. So you'll have that available as well. And usually we have all the slides and we link to them in the description. Yeah, but I think we got another question. We got one from our own Larry from Home Rapid Repair. Larry says, signed my first brand deal. All right, good job, Larry. Signed my first brand deal contract with real money, not just free products. I know about YouTube paid promotion button and maybe hashtag ad. However, the FTC also wants me to actually speak it in the video. Yeah, just in the video, say thank you to so and so for sponsoring today's video and make sure you support them. Link is in the description down below. That's usually enough for that. So you, as long as you verbally disclose them and say that they're a sponsor, that's fine. You just like, hey, today's video is sponsored by so and so. They do great work at everything like that. I enjoy them. Make sure you're checking them out. Link is in the description. Thanks again for sponsoring the video. That's enough, and that's enough of a disclosure. Because people ask about this all the time, I may make just a regular YouTube video. It'll probably get like no views, but I'll just make a video about the disclosure stuff for brand deals at some point, and it'll probably get no views. But maybe my 15 tips on brand deals video, when I release 15 tips on brand deals, maybe that video will get views. But sometimes I have to make reference videos, even if they're only going to get 3,000 or 5,000 views from search, but maybe they take off later because there's some people that just need an answer to a question. And so there's some of those videos that I'm just gonna make. Eventually, there's some things that are just answers to questions, like the some of the things from the appendix in my book, for example. Some of the things from the appendix in my book, I'm just gonna make YouTube shorts answering those questions for some of them. And some of those things will also be easier for people to search and click on because if they know it's a short, they know they're just gonna get a quick answer. So that's also something that I'm looking at. And this is why I think it'd be easy for me to get back into regular uploads or even daily content again. I just have to let go of overdoing the editing and feeling a little bit insecure that people have in the past sometimes said, oh, your content is lazy or you don't, this editing is like, I don't think I'm lazy at all. But even I can be made like insecure from that sort of thing sometimes. But yeah, but just videos sometimes that answer a simple question. I'm fine to go back to doing some of those, knowing that they'll only get 5,000 views, maybe 10,000 if I'm lucky, because the truth is, I'd rather 5 or 10,000 creators get an answer to a question. I don't need every video to do 50 or 100,000 views. And I'm getting to the point to where I care less and less about the views, if I'm being honest, because what I care about is I care about definitively making the best creator education content possible. And I've come to the conclusion that the best creator education content possible doesn't mean the most fancy editing thing. And it doesn't always. Now, there's some people, and there's nothing wrong with this if people want to do it, but I just don't feel like you need to see YouTube education shot that feels like a vlog or a cinematic YouTube video all the time. There are some videos I've done like that before, and I've done some green screen videos that were highly polished, highly edited. Some of them got 100,000, 200,000 views, and that's great. I'm like, I don't need every video to be that, and you don't need every video to be that. Some videos, you just need a bloody answer to a question as quickly as possible, get you in, get you out, and you don't need MrBeast editing to get you through it. And if you're too bored to watch a video that tells you exactly what you need to know because it doesn't have fancy editing, then how are you going to get through the actual process of executing on the thing you need to do? I mean, if you can't get through a 5 minute or 10 minute video to be a better content creator, how are you going to get through the 10-hour editing session that you need to get through? Like, that's just a real thing. And I think that that may be to some people's real barrier is they may not be cut out for content creation if they're not cut out for everything that goes along with it. If you can't get through a video to help you in 5 or 15 minutes, how are you going to get through 2 hours of researching your topic? How are you going to get through 3 hours of doing a photo shoot to get the perfect shot, to go into Photoshop for 2 more hours to do everything you have to do to make that perfect thumbnail for all those views that you want? Like, if you can't get through an explanation, how are you going to get through the process of an execution? So, like, that's something that I think is very difficult for a lot of people to wrap their head around. So for me, my answer is I want to spend a lot of my time on the one-on-one coaching because that helps creators the most. I want to build, like, I haven't even built the paid courses yet. I've spent so much time lately because we're adding two big things to our free Creator Foundations course. And these are huge. These are huge. So we're adding two new things to our Creator Foundations course, which is already free. Now, it's a free pay what you want, pay what you can course. So if you want to donate $5, $10, $15, you can. You're not obligated to. It can be $0 and be 100% free. The mods will link that in the chat and we'll add it to the description. But with the Creator Foundations course, we already have over 4 hours of content. We have a 90-minute monetization masterclass that I taught live in person in New York. The event company that I worked with, it no longer exists. So we gave that away for free in this Creator Foundations course. The new thing we're adding to it is I get so many questions, and we even did this 12-week workshop around the whole question of where do I start? I'm a beginner. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how to start. And we did the 12-week workshop to really help a lot of you that are under 20,000 subscribers have a place to start. But if even that's too overwhelming, what we want to do with the Creator Foundations course and something we're adding is I actually wrote out a 6-week starter boot camp for the Creator Foundations course, to where I have a roadmap that I wrote out. I wrote out the curriculum around our concept we teach in Allison Creator Academy. We have a concept we call core. I wrote out 6 weeks to execute on this because core stands for content strategy, optimization and packaging, revenue, and then engagement and community. So core, those are our 4 principles that we teach creators, right? Those are the 4 main foundational principles of Awesome Creator Academy and what we teach. So we have the first week as mindset and lifestyle design for the working class creator to teach you how to start batching content and scheduling around the fact that you have a 40-hour work week and you need free time to make content. So we spend the first week that we're putting out in that. We have a couple modules around that to where we're going to talk about mindset and scheduling, calendar blocking, batch recording, and making sure you don't burn out and making sure that this fits within your lifestyle. Then we move on to week 2, which is about content strategy and building your content pillars, defining your audience avatar, and rapidly developing your ideas. And an exercise with you developing 20 video ideas that you want to do. And so then we move on to week 3, which is around optimization and packaging, where we teach you about titles and give you examples of title formulas and structures that are effective in YouTube. Then we teach you a thumbnail workshop on how to make effective thumbnails, using free software mostly, but also Photoshop because it's the best and it'll give you the best advantage. We teach you about hooks for the first 30 seconds of your videos and demonstrate why they're so important, because you lose 30 to 50% of your audience in the first 30 seconds if you don't get it right. And then we have exercises for all of these, by the way. We have exercises at the end of every week where you can screenshot what you did or talk about what you did, go to the Discord server, because we have the Free Creator Foundation's Discord server, and you can actually have a community and have feedback, and you can talk to each other, and you can review or roast each other over there. In week 4, we talk about revenue. We introduce you to the Magnificent seven monetization methods for content creators. So we have 7 main monetization methods. I jokingly call them the Magnificent Seven after the stocks, but also after the Cowboys, the Magnificent Seven. So there's 7 main monetization methods. Off the top of my head, I believe it's AdSense, sponsorships, UGC, affiliate marketing like the Amazon influencer program, memberships, fan funding, and then selling your own products, whether it's digital or physical. So it could be merch or it could be digital downloads. So that's your Magnificent Seven. Those are the 7 ways that most content creators make their money. So we introduce you to the Magnificent Seven. Then we tell you to make your monetization mix, which is you're going to kind of focus on 2 to 3 ways of making money to start that fit you for where you are. And so we're going to walk you through that. We're going to teach you about revenue expectations and what things generate revenue and what it would take to get to your first $100 using each method. And so we talk about that. Then we encourage you, when you make your first $100, to celebrate that milestone, or even when you make your first dollar, to celebrate that milestone in the Discord server. In week 5, we're going to talk about engagement and community. We're going to teach you Moderation 101 and how to work with mods if you're a streamer, and also how to moderate your own community comment section in YouTube and how to use the community tab. We're going to introduce you guys to a quick start on starting your own community newsletter. And we're also going to talk about the different things you can post in your YouTube community tab section. So that's going to be something that we do. And then we're going to go on to week 6, which is around planning, production, and publishing. And we're going to teach you about that: planning, production, packaging, and publishing. That's the 4 parts, the 4 Ps. Then we're going to talk a little bit more about batching your content and about editing days versus filming days. We're going to give you a primer on analytics and which analytics do and don't matter, so you can study those and so you can make plans around those things. And we're going to then also encourage you to share and screenshot analytics in the Discord server so that you can get feedback or insights or ask questions, or you can compare notes with each other. So that's the 6-week launch plan that we have, that we're going to add to Creator Foundations for anyone who's looking to launch their content. This is our 6-week launch plan that we're doing. So we'll be adding that over the next couple of weeks here, hopefully wrapping that up before the end of the month or in early May here. So we're adding that to the Creator Foundations course. And the other big thing that we're doing is we're going to more aggressively encourage participation from the course in the Discord server and give you a few of these real world assignments and tell you to go out and do some of these things and to show them off and showcase them so that you can get feedback from other creators. So those are our 2 big things we're doing with the Creator Foundations course. And that's the free content. That's the free content. I'm still working on the brand deals course and teaching you guys how to get brand deals. And so we're still filming and editing for that in the meantime. that'll be an expensive course, but it'll pay for itself when you get your first bigger brand deal like Larry did from Home Rapid Repair. So the idea and the goal here is giving the smaller content creators a framework and an opportunity to be able to have a clear path to growth, an understanding of what the best practices are for YouTube. We're also eventually going to publish the best practices that we have for the other platforms because we want people to be platform agnostic. YouTube's my biggest platform, but it's not my only one. I have 100,000 followers on X, 24,000 on Instagram. LinkedIn, I have 14,000, I think, which might as well be 100,000 for how that goes on LinkedIn. That makes you a rock star in LinkedIn. We have almost 20,000 people on the newsletter now. I consolidated the newsletter, and so we have almost 20,000 on the Creator Economy Insider newsletter, teaching people about monetization and how to make money as a content creator, how to go full time. That's what the newsletter is about. So we have that. Like those are just different things. We want people to be platform agnostic. I'm bringing back the podcast. So it's busy, 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 busy. So, I'm going to pull back on the editing, but I also want to publish 2 to 3 videos a week. I'm going to pull back on the editing. I'm going to deliver you the best content I know how, and it's going to be good audio, good video, but we're going to pull back on some of the editing. But I think it's going to be for the best. So, those are things we're working on. Your boy out here, it may not look like I'm doing as much because I'm not publishing the 2 to 3 videos a week. I promise you, I still work a 50 to 60 hour work week right now. I'm trying to talk myself out of a 70-hour work week. But yeah, I put in a 50 to 60-hour work week between all the coaching calls, the academy, the live streams, writing the second book, and writing the second edition of the first book. I'm doing a revised edition of the first book. Any new chapters we put out of the first book, we will literally be publishing online so that anyone who bought a physical copy still gets access to those, and those will be free. For the people who bought physical copies, we will make it so that you can get the new chapters for free. I'm like trying to get some of my voice back to finish the version of the audiobook that will be voiced by me with the revised edition. So the second edition of that of the book. And I'm almost 30,000 words into the second book, which means once I hit 30,000 words, I finally would have hit about roughly what I think will be the halfway point. The first book was 44,000 words. The second book is looking at an estimated 62,000 words to complete, and I'm about 30,000 words into it. So I'm almost halfway. And then we'll get it to the editor. So I'm gonna have like Kristen edit it. She's gonna do a fantastic job with that. So it's round the clock for Roberto. It's round the clock for Roberto, especially with these late night streams. It's literally 10 to 12-hour days, and I'm not exaggerating that. I wish I were. I'm 10 to 12-hour days, 5 to 6 days a week. So we got DePaul question. How do content creators and influencers get brand deals or invites to premieres, to movies, or even to amusement park events? Do they reach out to the brands or do the brands reach out to them? It's a bit of both in many cases, but specifically if you're caring about the amusement park events and the movie premieres and the red carpets, most of that, my friend, talent agencies for most of that, to be honest with you. And when it's not talent agencies, is it a connection that they have with another creator that got that hookup either directly through a brand or through a talent agency, or again, yet through another creator through the grapevine. It is literally all predicated on networking. For brand deals, the most effective way to do brand deals is to do outreach yourself or to get a manager or a brand deals manager or work with specifically PR companies or influencer marketing firms. And I've worked with quite a few of them. One of the things we have in the brand deal starter kit, and we have a coupon code for you guys, in the brand deal starter kit, which is a $99 product, and we have a 20% off coupon code for that. we actually teach you the method for reaching out to brands and how to find the contact email for the brands you want to reach out to. But what I think more importantly is we actually talk about and reveal a lot of the information around working with agencies. Now you got to remember, I came from working at an ad agency in corporate America. So I worked at an agency, like I said, in traditional advertising. This is before influencer marketing really became a thing. So this is over a decade ago. So like back in 2010, 2011, this was my career. Now, the thing with working with these PR companies and agencies, I've worked with quite a bit of them. I've worked with Social Standard, Sunshine Sachs. I've worked with Space Station Integrations. I've worked with Influential. I've worked with Big Door Media. I've worked with maybe in my time 8 or 10 of these different agencies. Some of them are PR companies, some of them are influencer marketing agencies specifically, and some of them are creator-based agencies that were by creators for creators, things like that. I don't do exclusivity with a talent agency. I don't have representation. Some creators want that, some don't. I believe I listed 8 or 10 agencies. I think I did most of the ones I've worked with. And I basically reviewed them and told you what to expect, what the experience working with them was, what their pros and cons were, what they are known for. And we have that information. And I believe it's one of the only places where we have that much consolidated information about individual agencies you could work with and what to expect from them from someone who's actually worked with those companies and have done brand deals through them. And so that's in the brand deal starter kit. But the main thing I believe in is an outreach. I also believe in making a media kit. We give you 3 media kit templates in the brand deal starter kit. If we add any more to that in the future, you'll get all the free updates for that. In fact, there's actually something new that we're adding in about 2 weeks to the brand deal starter kit, and then we'll do a push update. We have something new we're adding there because we are doing a UGC add-on that has a little bit more to do with how to begin to think about the pricing model for UGC content, for one-off UGC content, and the licensing model around that. So we're adding something there as a bonus. Also, I tend to put together packages. Now, you don't have to do this, but we also talk about the importance of packaging. And so these things all help you if you do outreach and you do pitching, you have your own packaging and pricing in mind. If you don't know, ask them what the budget is. If you don't know what to charge, and we have all kinds of these things that are helpful in the brand deal starter kit, and it's $99. If you're serious about brand deals, you're going to make much more money than the $99. So that's why that's a good value price product. We have a discount code for you there. One of the most important things we have, I think, is probably the fact that we have 12 swipe files for the email outreach, because a lot of you, even if you know how to do the outreach, even if you find the email contact, you're going to freeze up and be blank. And it's like, I don't know what to put in this email to get a response back or to get them on a Zoom call and get them to take me seriously. We wrote 12 different sample emails for you. We also, because we know most of you don't even know what a good contract would look like. This one we used a little help from ChatGPT with a twist. What we did was we took some of my old brand deal contracts that were for usually $10,000 or more. And so they had very robust terms that the lawyers did. We put them into ChatGPT. We had it take out all of my private information, all the company's private information, and we had ChatGPT rewrite these already lawyer-approved contracts, and we made the terms more favorable to the creator. And so then we gave you sample contracts with that in mind, and I think we did over 10 of them, so that you know what a good contract that is favorable to a creator should or could look like. So I think this is one of the best affordable brand deal resources that has ever existed. And that was the entire point. And we could have charged a lot more for these things. Just the contracts, we probably could have charged $99 just for that. So we threw all those things into the brand deal starter kit as a bundle for $99, and we still give you a 20% off discount code if you watch the streams. So that's what we've got going on with that. So, good question, but it also allowed me to let you know that that product exists if it's something you're interested in. So the mods have put the link for that in the chat. I had it up here on the screen. So, that's a thing. Um, Jermot asked, Roberto, how much do you think that DuckTales glass is worth? That's not an official question. Just want to know if it's worth more than my Garfield mug. I'm not sure. This is a novelty one, and unfortunately, I think someone put it in the dishwasher instead of hand washing this. My sister bought this for me. So um, no idea, but I think this was probably at most 20 or $30. But yeah, my family buys novelty nerd stuff for me all the time because they know that I'm into that sort of stuff. So, I mean, you can see behind me, there's like a novelty stormtrooper helmet. I've got my Monopoly guys. So, big nerd, big 80s and 90s kid. So I have a lot of collectibles. But a lot of those collectibles are also not me splurging, even though there's nothing wrong with treating yourself a little bit. I'm very anti-consumerism beyond tech and business stuff and things for your home office. But I like nerdy collectible stuff. I'm a big Star Wars nerd. So I've got things like my Ahsoka bobblehead here for my Funko Pop. I'm a big Marvel guy, especially Spider-Man. So people when they want to buy me something nice, they buy me that stuff. Exploring Canada. Hey, what's up? I volunteer to help with read through edits. Another set of eyes from your audience's perspective. It's what I did professionally for decades, now retired and traveling Canada. Okay, Exploring Canada. I'll definitely reach out to you on X or something to get together on that. That'd be dope, especially since you did it for a career. Because I am going to look for advanced readers. I am going to look for advanced readers before we go to final. So definitely appreciate that. Scale Train Station says, question, Roberto, how do you think of AI? Oh, wait, how do you think of this AI suggested topic for the first video on a new channel? Why am I starting this channel? 2 decades of car engineering secrets. Um, for launching a channel, I think it should be more maybe something that a casual person scrolling in YouTube might care about. And so um maybe more along the lines of um car engineer reveals the secrets manufacturers don't want you to know. So think about it. If you're randomly scrolling on YouTube in your phone, and then all of a sudden you see something that says car engineer reveals secrets auto manufacturers don't want you to know. That's intriguing enough to make anybody curious and click on a video. I don't think they particularly care that you started a YouTube channel as a regular person scrolling in YouTube and they're a consumer. The YouTuber community cares about that, but regular normal people do not. But a regular normal person, and my mom and my sister were in my SUV, and they just today, unfortunately, they had a car accident. Everybody's safe. The car even took it like a champ. It's a Toyota RAV4, so it took like a champ. But the point is, if you think about it, I just had family members in a car accident. You don't think I would click on a video that said, um, you know, car engineer reveals secrets the manufacturers don't want you to know. You don't think I'm going to click on that video? I'm going to click on that video right away. I just had, even though it worked out, I just had my family in a car accident. I'm going to click on a video where an engineer reveals secrets the car industry doesn't want you to know. Like, I'm going to click on that video. That video has curiosity, conflict, conspiracy, confusion, and controversy all in one title. I mean, absolutely click on that video as long as the thumbnail's good. And any regular person could click on that video as a car owner. Yeah. So again, like initially, we have to always like in many cases we have to aside from very very specific subject matter, you have to kind of somewhat take yourself out of the equation. There are things, stories that are transformation stories, like a weight loss journey, a debt journey. Like if someone makes a video that says, "I paid off $160 in credit card debt in 1 year." Oh yeah, people will watch that video and be invested in that person's debt journey, and they will care about that person because of that transformation. If someone is able to say, I lost 300 pounds in 13 months, or I lost 300 pounds in 3 years, my weight loss journey revealed, people will click on that and care about that person because they care about a zero to hero story. Zero to hero stories make you care about the person, or people surviving things and doing adventures um, make you care about things. Um, I lived on a train for 7 days. That's a video people watching and visiting in person, or, um, you know, living on a coastal train ride from New York to LA. Like, someone will, like, my life, living no, sorry, not my life. I lived on a train for 12 days, New York to California train trip. Like someone will click on that like easily, something like that, right? I lived in an airport for 30 days. Like someone will care about the person behind that idea. The transference of caring about the idea to caring about the creator is more challenging than people think it is. Um, so that's something you have to think about. And yes, that title idea works for almost every industry. Like blah 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 exposes things this industry doesn't want you to know. That title formula works universally. Like for ad executive reveals how media manipulates and lies to you. Yeah, if you guys haven't clicked on the like button, please do. Oh, we got another quick super chat here. What would the thumbnail look like for engineer reveals 10 secrets the car industry doesn't want you to know? Oh, that's a great question. Like, for that one, what I think really um does it is some kind of conspiracy style thumbnail. So that could be a conspiracy board where it's like, like, and you have the conspiracy board there. Um Another version of it could literally be an engineer holding some kind of instrument or tool and having a disassembled car tear down behind him on machinery. So that could do it. Another one could be literally standing in front of an absolutely mangled car. Those are things that people would click on and would care about for a title like that because of the anxiety that it induces to not know that information if you trigger them with that. Because one, we all can't look away from accidents, unfortunately, right? We're all going to look at an accident, a car accident, a train wreck, whatever. We all know that, right? So seeing that in the thumbnail and then a person also saying that they're exposing something, it gives a whistleblower vibe. So it's extremely attractive as a thumbnail because it opens a curiosity loop that there's too much anxiety behind not closing. So that's what I would probably do. Yeah. So again, if you guys want to follow up on these kind of conversations, you guys want to bounce ideas off of each other, definitely make sure you join the Creator Foundation's Discord server, and you guys can be active there. I encourage that a lot. You guys can continue these conversations that start in the chat. They don't have to end in the chat. You could absolutely join the Discord server. Just remember, it's not a way to pick Roberto's brain for free. You do have to hire me if you want to pick my brain. So that's not really the point of the Discord server. The point of the Discord server is for you guys as a community to be able to support each other. In terms of people who do get to pick my brain, those are the members of the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group that get to have a little bit more access to me every Tuesday and Thursday for our live office hours sessions in the private group. So they get access to me, and they get access to my co-instructor, Andy Rivera, and my team. So I would do that. One-on-one coaching calls, by the way, are not done by my team. The one-on-one coaching calls are done by me. The admin work for those are done by my team, but it's all me. And as for the YouTube channel, I still solo everything for this YouTube channel. I only have a team for the Awesome Creator Academy and my coaching business, and mostly the admin side for a lot of that, and some of the design work. I still do everything for the YouTube channel, including the editing, the production on the streaming. I build all the slide presentations for the workshops. I do, with the help of ChatGPT, the outlining of the lesson plans. I do all the lesson plans with some AI assistance there. And I also do all the graphic design. I do all the thumbnails. My brother helps with the photo shoots for the posing for the thumbnails. He helps with the photo shoots. But the rest of the YouTube channel, oh yeah, it's all me. I'm still a solo creator at 600,000, which also would be one of the reasons why I'm not quite at a million yet. That's actually more challenging than you think. Most people, they're successful partly because of their team, if not in some cases, the majority of it being because of their team. Um, so just keep that sort of thing in mind. Yep. The Discord server is meant to be you guys' public study hall. It's a public study hall where you guys can learn, encourage each other, um, share information with each other, compare notes, compare analytics, talk about your experiences. Also, a lot of you, the reason a lot of you burn out is you don't get to talk to other creators that actually care about this. Your friends and family don't care about it the same way that you do. That's a big deal. Even if they try to be encouraging, they can't understand. They're not another creator. So having this Discord server where you actually can talk to creators, and my mods are about it. My mods are great. My mod team is in there. They hang out all the time, and they connect with everybody. They welcome everybody. So it is an active server. So if you go there, you will have other creators that you can talk to for the most part as much as you want about content creation. You don't have to feel lonely doing this. You can talk to people every day if you want to, if you're in the Creator Foundation's Discord. And then as for structure, you get some real answers and you get a little bit of structure if you're in the free Creator Foundation's course. And like I said, we're still working on updating and adding that to that course. I think it'll be one of the only free YouTube courses that has more than 6 hours of free content. And again, I said, like, a real simple way to support the channel if you can is to buy the book. The book is affordable. It's on Amazon. We have the Kindle version as well. It's $10 or $15 to support that way. You get something cool from me. I mean, you could think of the book as my merch. And if you're ever in an event, I will sign it in person for you. Also, I just feel like it's some of the best information for a content creator that's new or intermediate, and I think that you'll find it incredibly valuable. My second book will reach anybody at any level, but it's going to be heavy on monetization. The entire book is literally about making money as a content creator and becoming a full-time content creator and running a creator business. It will help you with the first $100 to $500 a month, but also has robust information in there for anyone looking to make 5,000 to 10,000 or more. I reveal a lot of the inside baseball of how I structured my brand deals. And I also cover all the basic stuff in the second book about incorporating your LLC, the S corp declaration, the insurance, all the business things are in the later chapters of the book. The business side is like third, the last third of the book is the business stuff and running that business and hiring help and all those things I've helped creators do. I've helped people hire, set up their operations, outsource, use freelancers. I've used freelancers. I've hired over 100 freelancers in my time. I've spent thousands of dollars on Fiverr. I was a freelancer once upon a time, so I know that whole part about hiring. I use Gusto to run payroll. There's all these different things. Filing your trademarks, so that's the like third part, the last third of the book. The first third of the book is the initial setup into all these things and thinking like a full-time creator, differentiating what moving on from being a hobby or part-time creator is, setting up the mindset, setting up the systems, and then the middle of the book is literally all the deep down nitty gritty about the 15 different monetization models for creators. And then we get into the different type of creators and how they monetize, how streamers monetize, how podcasters monetize, YouTube more specifically, thought leader educators versus influencer entertainers, and how the different monetization models work for them, what the right mix is. We get into the negotiation in the second book around the brand deal pricing stuff. So the second book is intense. Like I said, I think it's going to be 62,000 words. I'm only about 30,000 words in. So that's going to be incredibly powerful. But the first book is still a solid foundation for any beginner that's a content creator that's under 20,000, under 50,000. This is still solid. There are creators with 100,000 to a million subscribers who told me that this book still helped them, especially the 5 mental health chapters in the book. They said that that was valuable to them. And like I said, we're going to add some new chapters to the book, and we're even going to publish the new chapters online for free so that people who bought the physical copy don't feel left out. And then new people who've never bought either will be marketed to through the free sample chapters. So that's going to be dope. So, there's a method to the madness. There's absolutely a method to the madness and to Roberto's 50 and 60-hour work weeks. So that's the thing. Oh yeah, the main channel still all me. The podcast, I do outsource the editing for the podcast to Music Radio Creative. When I have in-person interviews, I outsource the editing for the in-person interviews. For the podcast. Need to bring back the podcast for this season. We're working on a plan for that. We're working on bringing panels to the podcast and having multiple points of view on some episodes, plus solo episodes. So the plan for the podcast is solo episodes from me, probably on a weekly basis, 1 to 2 panels of a month of gathering together different perspectives on different topics. If that is popular enough, we might even arrange that weekly. And then once a month to twice a month interviews, ideally in-person interviews if I can pull them off. And when I can't pull off in-person interviews on my travels and batch those, we'll do interviews with some of my coaching clients, Awesome Creator Academy clients, and other prominent people in my network. And that's the plan for the podcast and bringing that back. So, yep. That's where Roberto's 10 to 12-hour work days are coming into play. And what I've managed to do is Saturdays, I don't work as hard. Saturdays, unless I have to do something to prep or I have sponsorship stuff I need to film or edit. Saturdays, I give myself a break and I will literally only work about maybe 4 hours on Saturdays, with about maybe 1 or 2 hours of that mostly being writing, planning, and admin work. But I definitely try to take my Sundays off to myself unless I have to do something, and I try to keep it to a minimum. So my goal is to eventually maybe take back all of my weekends if I can. But sometimes there are people who can only fit a call with me in on the weekend. I don't love that, but I do it for the weekend stuff. But I try to section off to where if I'm going to do anything at all on Saturday, it's just going to be a 4-hour day, tops, and that's it. And I try to just section that off. Monday through Friday, it's 10 to 12 hours a week. I swear to you, it's 10 to 12 hours a week. We're planning to do a once a month video that might be a day in the life, but what it would be is I'm planning once a month to try to do like a weekend trip, and I would do the day in the life stuff or the vlog content as a catch up, and I might film some behind the scenes of the days before. But yeah. So we've been thinking about something like that. Yeah. It's just that I have so many of these plans that working on everything else at once. And again, it's a cautionary tale to some degree for y'all in overextension. It's a cautionary tale in some overextension, but I'm working on it. I am planning a day in the life of a full-time content creator video. We will be slightly structuring or scripting that video. It will be done in a vlog, cinematic vlog-like style, very similar to my friend Sarah Dici. So we do have a video planned for that, probably next month. It is something we've been working on. I have been cleaning up the studio in the basement for that video, the library. I try to keep the office clean aside from my desk, which is So we try to do that. So there are plans for a day in the life of a full-time content creator video that will talk about the different skills and the different things that you do, and the brand deal stuff. So there is a plan for a day in the life of a full-time content creator. So we have a plan for that. If that video works out, we'll do another one where we specifically even call it another day in the life of a full-time content creator or day in the life of a full-time YouTuber. We might even do a short script version that is um, day in the life of a full-time YouTuber in 90 seconds, where we do a very compressed video inspired by Patrick Bet David. Um, so there is that. So again, we have a thought around possibly some kind of trilogy for a day in the life of a full-time content creator. If those things take off, what I may do is a scripted series of videos that I drop as a series where I cover individual topics that are emotional to creators. Day in the life of a full-time content creator, imposter syndrome. Day in the life of a full-time content creator, burnout. Day in the life of a full-time content creator, hustle. Day in the life of a full-time content creator, isolation. Um, things like that. Day in the life of a full-time content creator, anxiety. Day in the life of a full-time content creator, toxicity. Like, so dealing with, there's a series where I might just do day in the life full-time content creator, but frame that as the mental health conversation around content creation and make it a those narrative storytelling videos that are done in a cinematic vlog like narrative structure. So those would be storytelling videos. So if there's a response to that, we might do a micro series. So that's the idea there. But anyway, we've been here for a good minute. It's getting super late. I need to call it a night, but it's been great doing another workshop with you guys. Like we said, we're going to try and get you the timestamps by tomorrow morning. We're going to get you the download link to the slide presentation for tomorrow as well. Thanks to all the mods. Thank you for dropping the links in the chat. for the book, the Discord server, and the Free Creator Foundations course. Make sure you guys are checking out all of those resources. Make sure you're checking out awesomecreatoracademy.com. And we will see you on the next one. You're going to see my outro, which is going to tell you more about Awesome Creator Academy and everything we're doing in the pro group. So feel free to join us in the Awesome Creator Academy pro group. We'd love to have you, or feel free to reach out about one-on-one coaching or channel reviews. Anyway, you guys, stay awesome, take care, and we will see you back here on Friday for the channel review streams.
Becoming a content creator can be a very lonely process and adventure, but it doesn't have to be. When I first got started going from 0 to 100,000 subscribers, I had to do it all by myself. I didn't have a community of like-minded and like-hearted creators to talk to or to ask for advice, and I certainly didn't have a mentor to guide me along the way. I built the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group because when I was getting started, what would have meant the world to me is not to have to struggle alone when it comes to being a full-time content creator. If I had had a community of creators that I could talk to and share information with, I would have avoided a lot of mistakes in my early career, and there would have been opportunities with brand deals where I would have gotten a better understanding of how to negotiate, and I wouldn't have undersold myself. I wouldn't have been taken advantage of in those early situations. So in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group, myself and our co-instructor Andy Rivera, we meet twice a week for office hours with our creators, and we share information, we talk about how we're building our creator businesses, and we offer constructive criticism and critique on the things that we're working on for our projects. You'll be part of a community of usually around 100 like-minded creators who are taking this seriously just like you are. You'll also have all access as a pro group member to all of our past, present, and future courses, training, templates, digital downloads, and swipe files. You have full access to our creator blueprints where you'll see our systems and the frameworks that we use to execute. You know, you always fall or rise to the standard of your systems. A lot of people really underestimate how important that is. We have digital download templates that can help you so you don't have to start with a blank canvas. These done for you files are actually incredibly helpful, especially for things like your thumbnails, your media kits, and anything you need for your branding as a content creator to look professional. We have email swipe files that help you with reaching out to brands. We have great information in helping you price yourself and build your packages appropriately. And remember, as part of the pro group, you have the opportunity to ask questions from myself and all the other creators participating. And so this means that if you need to ask questions about negotiation or a brand deal, there's something you're not sure about, you're trying to find a better monetization opportunity with merch or affiliates, you have people who have done it before, who are already making money, that you can reach out to for advice. As I said, when I was starting out and I was flying solo, this is the thing that I wish I'd had the opportunity to be a part of, and it would have made all the difference in the world in helping me be an even more successful content creator. If you have questions, you can always reach out via support. We're happy to help you figure out if the pro group is right for you. Also, we do have the opportunity if you become a VIP member, if you also would like quarterly one-on-one coaching with me directly. Now go out there and create something awesome today, and hopefully we'll see you in the pro group. Take care.